Hey up everybody and welcome back. Well, I say welcome back, but I haven't actually been anywhere. So last week's video got to be an hour, that was ample. So I knocked off just when we got to having finished this. And now I'm starting what to me is next week's video, not this week's. And we're going to continue with this because we have to make brackets, we have to put the feed out of there, and we have to put the return up here, T-piece and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, well obviously there's nothing to say because all I've done is been and had a cheese and tomato sandwich. I love cheese and tomato sandwiches. Nice cheddar, sweet tomato. I could just eat them until I'm sick. So anyway, let's take this over, try it on the bike and see what we can sort out in the way of how we're going to mount it. Alright. I think I've welded up those leads. Where are we going? You know what? Oops. Nearly fell over the chair. Don't like that. It's too bulky. Too much up here. See, I was so much concentrating on getting that extra capacity, which of course I've overdone. I didn't want 2 litres, so I got 500 cc's or something like that to play with. Hang on a minute. Alright, I just wanted to make a couple of measurements. This is 6 centimetres wide. This is 10 centimetres high. So that's 60 square centimetres. So I could take 8 centimetres off that, and that would still only be 480 cc's. So I could easily shape this just to lose that corner. I can move the hole. Well, I can't move the hole. I can make a new hole at the back here. So what would look good? Straight, curved. That might be nice. I'm going to have to sit and look at this, so I'll switch you off, and when I bring you back I'll have it marked. I'm not quite sure how I'm going to cut it though. We'll think about it. Well, that's what I'm thinking of. This actually is only 4 centimetres. That's only just 8, so even if it was that big, so it's almost half of that, which would be 480, so it's maybe 300 cc's. So I'm down to 1700, but that's fine. Airspace, I've still got 1500 cc's, which I think is nice. That's about sitting where it's going to go. It'll maybe be actually down a little bit like that. It's sitting on some rubber. And I think what I'm going to do is put a mounting up here, and then on the bottom I'm going to make a mounting that will go onto the rear engine mounting. Yeah. I tried a couple of different ones and I didn't really like the look of them. I think that sort of, it's a curvy thing, so I think that looks nice rather than just a straight one, or one like that. I think that actually gives me a little bit more clearance for the carb on the other side. Now the question is, how do I cut it out? That's fine. I can put that, I can lay it on its side, put that up against the bandsaw and cut that, and the same there. See, I could maybe swivel it around cutting both sides with the bandsaw, or at least, see, I'm not sure, to be able to do that I'd have to be certain that it was sort of completely flat, because looking at it, if we were looking at it from the end, if I have it tilted over, then one side's not going to match the other side. But I could sort of cut the majority of it off and then do the rest actually with shears. Well, that's true. If I cut that piece out, if I cut this top piece out, I can get in there with the shears, make a template, cut this side, make a template, put it on the other side. Yeah. The only trouble with this, of course, is if I do that and I don't like it, then we're screwed or snookered. Let me think about it some more before I cut it. Well, I thought about it and I thought about it, and then, as the phrase goes, I bit the bullet. It'll be like that. So let me go weld a piece in here, and then for better or worse, that's what it is. Alright, I thought I'd come out for a little bit on Saturday, get ahead of myself. So anyway, I have, oh sorry about the heating, that's just come on. I've cut the hole in the top of that. Oh, look at that, and the little red thing on the battery's just come on as well. But I thought before I started doing the connections for it, I should make sure where the mountings go. And while I was thinking about it last night, I suddenly thought, oh damn, I'm forgetting that the clutch cable goes down there. And as I mentioned, I was planning on putting the mounting onto this engine mount, but I just checked with the cable. The cable, of course, goes underneath the engine mount, not on the top. So I should take that out of the way now. So let me pull you in. Now, unfortunately, the silencer just comes past that mounting, so I couldn't go straight down onto it. So I had to get clever, which is never a good thing for me, of course. And then I didn't have any 1/8 inch alloy, so I had to rummage around find a piece of scrap. So I had to make one like that goes underneath that a bit. Now, of course, I couldn't make all those bends, so I made it in 2 pieces. Quite a nice little weld, that, isn't it? So that, because when we put the oil tank on, we won't have the silencer there. So let me push a bolt through that first and foremost. This is going to have to be a stud actually at the back, because a bolt head won't go past the outer engine covers. And of course I didn't actually have a new bolt the right length, so I had to rummage around and find a used one. So that is going to go on there like thusly. Actually, I could use this bolt. And that seems to be about level. You might disappear at any moment when that battery goes. I've got another battery, so don't worry about it. Alright, we're not touching anything there. I could wrap that corner a little bit more. But that seems to be pretty good. Hang on, let me tighten it. Oh, by the way, same as you at home, we've just had our first snow. As I mentioned, it was so warm the forsythia was blossoming. Yeah, well now we've got about 3 inches of snow. Why won't that go on? I'll tell you why that won't go on. Because it'd be a Whitworth, isn't it? Any money, that's a Whitworth. If it's a, out of my, yes it is. So that won't go on there either. Rat. That's it, we're going to need an extension. Hurry, Michael. There we go, now we're shaping. Now we tighten that up. That's going to go like that. And that is going to sit on there like thus. Clear at the front. Oh, hang on. Zzzt. Just clear at the front nicely. So all I've got to do is make some marks on the bottom and that, take it all off and weld it up. Easier said than done. I've just noticed something. I don't know if I'll be able to get a filler cap in that. This bloody curve is really annoying. Okay, we'll solve that problem as well. Alright, so there's that welded onto there. And I've found out that this actually will go on with the silencer on. So let's put it on and make sure everything is right. I must admit that's higher up than I thought it was going to be, but I haven't actually got the thing that high, the oil tank. Let's see what we got here. So it doesn't make it very easy to get the nut on this side, having the extension. Let's make sure everything goes on right. Right, I'm going to make the brackets for this together, so that's like that. Ooh. There we go, nice gap in there. Carburetor on, and as always tighten it up so we know it's where it's going to be finally. I'll bring you around here to show you this. Actually, that tank is leaning over this way a bit. That's better. See, that'll be taken account of when we put the top fitting on. Alright, hold on. So that looks fine from that side. And that looks fine from that side. I've got plenty of room to fit that on. Everything clears. I'm clear here. Chain can come up a massive way before it gets anywhere near that. It's not touching the front. So all we need now is our airbox, but we've got to make, actually I think that'll be alright, it's over there a little bit now. So we need to have the outlet, which I think we're going to put on this side, down there, and then we're going to have the return coming up here and a T-piece. Yeah, we can have the T-piece on the back of there, I think, and because that's got to come up to here under the tank. Yeah, that should be alright. So I think what I'll do now is turn up the piece, the filler cap. So I started making the thing. This is the neck that will go on the tank. I've got it a little thicker, that's where I'm going to weld it. So that is just a sliding fit on that. So what I'm going to do now is cut a groove into that. Just take an O-ring, and then got 1/4 of an inch here which we're going to knurl. Right, and I'm going to drill a 1/4 inch hole right out the end in the centre, because I'm trying to work out how to do the vent for the tank, and the only thing I can come up with, because I don't have a lot of room at the top, I don't have a lot of space anywhere, is I'm going to have it vent through the end of the cap, and I'm going to weld on at right angles a piece of tube that a hose will go on, so it'll keep, see, what normally I would have done is turn this so there's a piece sticking up 1/4 inch for a piece of hose to go on, but that would mean it's going to add another maybe inch to that and make it difficult to get in and out. But if it comes out at an angle, everything will be fine. So let me cut this groove for the O-ring. Right, so I cut the groove with my cutting off tool because that's a 1/8 blade and the O-ring is 1/8 thickness. So I cut in 100 thou, so that should leave this proud 25 thou all the way around. Nice fit. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is knurl this and then, drill a 1/4 inch hole through, knurl it, and then part it off. So there's that done with its knurl. The edge is just done. So as I say, that's a nice tight fit into that. Okay. So as I say, I'm going to weld a piece onto that sticks out, put a tube on. I could almost, if I'd have made that, I could have made that slightly taller, couldn't I, and drilled in there and put the piece to come out of there. No, I think it'll be fine with it there. We'll make a nice piece with a curved end to go on. That'll be fine. Let's go try it on the bike and then I'm going to knock off. That's enough for today. Alright. So that's going to go on there like that. Oh yeah, you'll be able to pour oil into that fine. And there's enough room, just enough room to get that out past the frame. Nice. Let's see if I can do a pretty weld around that. But that will be, well, today's Saturday. You'll be watching a video, last week's video tomorrow, so it'll be Monday when I come out. It's pouring down now, so that snow's going and it's really soggy out there. So anyway, see you on Monday morning. Alright, so there's the neck welded in. Not too shabby. Alright, what we're going to think about now is the feed and the return. I just put the tank on to see where I wanted this. Drilled a hole for that and made up a little piece. This is 5/16 with a 1/4 inch hole, which is just the same size as the oil fitting that goes on the bottom of the engine. So that will go on there. I left a little collar to make it easier to weld. So let me get that welded on there, and then we've got to think about the return and the T-piece for that to take the rocker feed. And there's the inlet pipe on there. Okay, let's put this tank back on. I'll fasten the tank on, so first thing I want to try, oh yeah, there's loads of them. I could have made that taller and put that bloody tube on that. Well, couldn't have made it much taller. Well, I could have made that taller and this the same length. Maybe. Anyway, let's go around the other side. So there's the feed pipe and the oil tube is going to come up there. And go on like this. So that'll go on there. I put a mirror in there to give you a bit more light. But anyway, that'll go on nicely, misses everything. So that's good. Let's think about where the return's going to go. While I'm over this side, I'll probably be putting a bracket on there. What I'm thinking is I'm going to drill this and put a threaded insert in, bronzed in, so everything's still strong. But the reason I haven't done it yet is because I will also use that for the airbox. So I'm thinking with the airbox that I'm going to make that sort of curve in like that and have the filter on the inside. So that, did I mention this? The top and the back of that will sort of go up to there, maybe with a little rubber lip on it, to make that sort of weatherproof. But there'll be a gap under and to the front, which will be out of the way, well protected. It'll breathe up through there, and the air filter part will be on that side, and it'll just breathe into that. And then that way it's not going to stick out down here. In fact, it can be about the same as that, come out, match up with that. Okay, let's have a look at this return line. Now the return line, of course, has got to go in above the level of the oil. We're going to have the oil, I guess, to about there. That should give us a good volume. So we need the return line to go in right at the top, and then I like to have them go so I can see the end of them here, and then I can see the oil feed or the oil return coming back in. So if it's there, where am I going to have the T? See, the pipe will come up there. Clog onto it, come up, go in. Then I've got to take off a feed of the rockers, and it's got to be, it's got to be tucked in. Although, of course, this, and with the saddle on, this is all going to make this, if you like, a little bit of dead space. I'm not going to be able to, nothing's going to go in there to catch that. So a plain T should be all right. Just aim it over there a little bit so it doesn't foul this. Alright, let me think how I'm going to actually make this, because the other thing is I've got to be able to get in to weld around it, which is always the awkward thing with T's. If you have them close in, then anyway, we'll give it some more thought. Right, well, wouldn't surprise me if you didn't hear all that shouting and swearing. There's the T-piece. Or there is the third iteration. It's taken me 3 goes. This, I don't know. I've fiddled around, I did practice pieces. Anyway, we got it done. So that's going to go in there like that. I've cut it long to start with. Right, so that's going to go in right near the back. So that's a short, smaller piece to go up to the rockers. There's the feed coming up to there. So all I've got to do now is drill a hole in there, see exactly how long I want it, weld this end up and drill a hole in the top to see, so I can see the return. Okay, so let me drill this hole first so I can poke that in and see. See, I want it to stick out here a little bit so I can get in to do that weld. It's tucked in, it's going to be tucked in out the way, so it doesn't matter if it sticks out a bit. So there that is, welded on there. Looks a bit cloggy, but actually it's, as I say, it's right in. There's no way you're going to catch that with anything. So next thing we've got to look at is the airbox. So let's go around there. So what are we going to do here? So originally I was thinking of putting it right back to there, but I don't think we need to. I'm going to make just a short mounting piece. We'll cut this shorter, just enough to mount it, which will bring it to about, yeah, no, it's further back than I thought it was. Oh, I don't know. Alright, let me make up the piece so that we can put that there and then go from there. Well, no blinding flashes of inspiration yet, but I've shortened this. I rolled up a piece of, I think it's about 90 thou. So that, and we want to have our box. So I guess I'm going to make it like that. And as I say, I think we're going to let it breathe in the back. I was thinking though, I don't know. I'm still thinking and thinking and thinking. Rather than having a gap, I was looking at the pancake filter, the Airmal one that came with the greaves, and like the flashy ones with the chrome ones, you know, they've only got little holes. This has got some slots around there. So I thought what I would do to make it even more weatherproof is make slots. So hold on, I'm getting a phone call. Alright, I'm back. What I was talking about was this type of air filter. That would screw onto the Airmal, and then, as you can see, that just has slots in there to let the air through. So I'm thinking of doing slots sort of around. If you imagine that's on there like that, and this is solid. That damn battery is annoying. I was saying that rather than having a gap there, I would have it solid, but I would put slots around the periphery, so there'd be slots all the way around there. Although I'm thinking maybe at the front, at the front I won't get much warm air. Alright, let me decide exactly how I'm going to do this and cut a piece which will then put a hole in and weld onto there. I still don't have a complete picture of how I'm going to do this, but I've made the end piece, welded that in there, so that is going to go on there like thus. Might shape this a little bit more. Looks as if that needs to come down slightly. But where are we going to go from there, and where are we going to get our air in? Curve that in there. Come back. Must admit, having such a big carburetor has proven to be slightly problematic, but we can deal with that. Okay, so as I say, that's on there. So now we just got to decide on how we're going to make this box. And as I say, I think what I might do is put slots in there. Yeah, but where am I going to put the foam? The foam can just be here. See, I'll leave this back part open, then I put a sort of ledge thing, lattice work, that I put the foam in from here. So the foam is going to be just there. Then there'll be an air space so the air can come in and go through the foam and fill the whole of the airbox. And then into there. Because don't forget, although this is a 2-inch hole, the choke is basically, where it goes in is basically only an inch. So we'll get plenty of airflow. Alright, let me look and think a bit more. Alright, so you see I've cut a piece off there. Okay, so it's going to breathe through here, through the bottom. We'll just have the foam there and all that will come through there. So what I'm going to do now is cut a piece that will go from there along the bottom. We'll follow that curve. I'll go across the top. And then we'll do a curved piece that will go from that all the way around back to it there. And I think that yeah, because we're not going to have a back on it. It's going to breathe into there. I can put a little, I can split some thin rubber tube to go around the edge of there to make that water, sort of watertight there. And this is sufficiently under the tank and everything that, and out of the way of splashes, and it'll, yeah, that'll work. I'm happy with that. So, got to cut that piece, bend it, weld it at the top, weld it at the bottom, and then make that piece. Then I've got to think of a way of putting a lattice in there. See, all I need is something that stops the foam from collapsing with the suction from here. Or, of course, I could just have the foam down there and across there, because then it would be breathing through the foam. Anyway, I'll give that some more thought after I've made the actual box itself. Well, I started to make this part of it, but I think I'm going to have to redo the whole thing because I haven't taken into account the fact that this is pointed away from that. So I've sort of made it square, which means that it doesn't, to get that right, when that's in there, you see, like that, I'm at an angle to that one, so this is moving away. Unless I can cut that at an angle and bring it back in. Let me try that. Alright, I managed to salvage that. I cut a little slot top and bottom so that that part went round. It's annoying that this isn't dead straight, but I am not going to remake this whole thing just for that. As I say, this is a trials bike and I'm going to be the one riding it. Now when I put my little rubber lip on, that'll seal the back up nicely. Now you'll notice that I didn't bring this out here. Because I've tried a couple of clever things recently and they've actually worked, I'm going to go berserk now. And I'm going to try and make this with a curve. So it's going to be curved this way. So it's going to be a compound curve. It's going to be curved this way and it's going to be curved that way, and hopefully everything will meet up and we'll weld it up, and then we'll be able to put the foam in from that side. Then when this has got a mounting point here, it'll pull that in. This will be nice and tight because I didn't have another thin, no, I should say narrow hose clip for a 2 1/4 inch piece of hose, so I'll have to order some, but anyway, that's minor. So that will go there. That's about level with that. It's not exactly, it's the same curve, but actually it should be slightly further out. But again, that is so minor. So now, you see, it's going to be able to breathe through the bottom. See, I could even put another hole in. I could put holes down there. Or how about I put a big hole in there and a big hole in there and put the foam in like that. Anyway, these are things we can think of when I've beaten that to shape. Alright, anyway, it's getting on. It's been a long day, actually. The urology department phoned me with all my instructions. For some reason, I haven't got to have wet hair. The lady that phoned said, shower the night before or in the morning, but don't come with wet hair. I have no idea what that is about. But anyway, there were the instructions. So, and I've stopped taking my blood thinner type things so that if they have a minor sort of accident and nick something, I won't bleed to death. So that's next Monday. Anyway, I'm waffling and telling you things you're not that interested in. Right, so I think that's fair enough. I think that's going to be a big enough volume. And as I say, it's only a whole of an inch, which would be a surface area of what, 1 inch. It's pi r squared, so that's a half by a half is a quarter by 3 and a bit is only 3/4 of a square inch. That always amazes me that it gets smaller. Even 2 inch, that's 1 by 1 by 3, that's 3 square inches. So, well, I don't know, I might have to drill holes all over. Anyway, I've got plenty of space to put holes in and get some foam on so that this is breathing out of this part of the box and sucking everything in through the bottom and everything like that. Alright, so until, well, probably tomorrow, I'm off. Good morning. Right, I've already cut a piece of alloy and annealed it, but as usual with this type of work, I know exactly what I want to do and I have no idea how to do it. So, I've made the piece large than need be. So I think the thing to do is to make the curve at this end and then see about, oops, we know it's going to come out to here. See, it's got to be flat there. I maybe should have done this with just a... No, we'll get it to work. We'll get it to work. So let me bend that around there. And then we'll see and make a couple of marks and start beating it to shape. Right, so I made myself a little cardboard template for that shape. And then I've been slowly, you're probably out of focus now, been bending that up till that fits in there. Okay, so because this is at a slight angle, that's got to go past there. So that is that. Now what I've got to do bend that like that. So I'm going to cut this because I don't want to be trying to bend all this metal. So let me mark this and cut it for this end. And then we'll give ourselves just a shade extra there. Do that. Okay. Right. So that took a bit of doing, but I've got that pretty close to being right on there. Now I say pretty close, and that's going to be good enough, because when I start banging this end, that's going to change. So I've cut this end, which is our first chance for me to make a mess of this, just in case I haven't cut it long enough. So that goes on there. Like that. So this is the area here that I've got to bring round. Okay, let's give it a go. Right, I think I do need the deep end. I'm going to move you, aren't I? Oh no, you're still there. Let's do it on the sandbag. So I'm going to have to shrink this side. I probably have to use the shrinking fork as well. Okay, that's starting to work. Oh, that's brought that in a long way. Let me put some tucks in this with the shrinking fork. It's not a shrinking fork, is it? It's a tucking fork. The idea is we're going to use this forgotten how you use it. Like that. See, the idea is to start and put them in, and then we close those up. They're not very big, are they? We're getting a lot of traffic because tomorrow is Thanksgiving, and you know we have 2 universities here in Ithaca, so we've got a lot of students going home for Thanksgiving. And then at the weekend, Sunday afternoon, they'll all be coming back. And this is the main road into Ithaca and the 2 universities. Right, let me go and hammer into these and see if I can get them to shrink up. One of those shrinking things would be nice to go around there. Alright. So I've messed around with this for ages. I've tried all sorts of things, and that's beyond me. And don't bother giving me any comments. I'm just not that interested in finding out how to do that. So what I'm going to do is make a flat piece to go over there, as that was, and then just do this very end piece. It's maybe how I should have done it. Perhaps that's in such a short piece, that's maybe too much to expect it to do. So I'll make it in 2 pieces and weld it up. Alright. And all I've got to do is... That doesn't stick out, does it? Where's the boot? Yeah. I'm just going to have it sort of squared off, same as the oil tank. So all I've got to do now is make a piece. See, that's it, it's got that curve, but it's also got that curve. That's what made it so bloody awkward. Alright. Now I got that bit welded on there. Okay. Made it a bit long. So then, can't remember which way this template goes now. Look like that. Then it's just simply a matter of that. Cut that out. Mark the curve in there. Cut that off that. And then weld it up. And we're done. Okay, and then, of course, we've got to start drilling. We've got to make a nice big hole there. And where are we? Goes on like that. Yep. So then hole, 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 I think. Give it plenty of room to breathe. And then where are we? Yep. Then we're going to make a little thing that goes in there like that. It'll just weld there. Weld up at the top, and it'll be off here about an inch, and the foam will slide into there. Okay, so let me cut this piece of alloy. Okay, so there it is, finished off. There's the piece in. A little bit more linishing to do there, just to get it looking right. So let's put it on the bike, see what it looks like. Right then, so there it is. It's all tightened up, matches up with the top and the back basically of that. So we'll get our air holes put in, and I'll get some foam off Mike on Friday because I've run out. And then, excuse me, I've got to order some wrong screwdriver. Order some of the narrow hose clamps. Now I've decided what I'm going to do is I'm going to put an L bracket on there and an L bracket on the back of the oil tank. I'm going to drill a 1/4 inch hole through so I can put a bolt through, and then make up a couple of little like top hat things to bronze on there. Actually, they don't even need to be top hats, do they? I was thinking I'd drill a bigger hole and actually inset them, but if I just drill a 1/4 inch hole, that's hardly compromising that tube, and with a disc bronzed on, just so that it's not up against the curve there, it's got something flat to bolt against, and then that'll hold everything together. As I say, with a rubber seal around the edge, that'll be nicely airtight. It'll just breathe in through the filter. It's a bit honky. I mean, it doesn't have my usual sort of smoothing into it, but as I say, this area was so small, the carb's so big, we had to think of something different this time. Alright, well, not sure whether I'll get out on Saturday, but I will try, and I'll certainly come out and say goodbye. So until then, actually it's Thanksgiving tomorrow, so I've got that. See you later. Alright, so it's Saturday. We had a good Thanksgiving, some friends round, and there's about 2 or 3 inches of snow out there, and it is, what was it when I came out this morning? 24 degrees. So that's about -5, -4, -5 centigrade. Right, so what I've done is I have cut a hole there, and I've cut a hole there, basically 1.25 inches or thereabouts. The combined surface area of them is the same as the surface area of that. And I've made this, turned out a little scrappy, but I've made a piece that's going to go in and get welded in there and then that'll hold the foam in there. All right. Okay, can you see this? You see that goes in there like that. Okay, all right, so let me go, and I put a couple of little tabs on to make it easier to weld in there. It only needs tacking inside there, and then that'll hold the foam. There's even little bits on the back so that when I push the foam in, it won't go through. All right, so let me go and tack them, and then we'll see about fitting some foam. Right, well, that was awkward. I've got to get myself some of those, I have some, the stubby bits that go on the torch. It was really difficult to fit it in, to get that welded, and then to get that welded. But as I say, they didn't have to be particularly heavily welded. All right, so then what we do, these would be oiled, of course, so it would get messy. But a little cut out. That goes in there like that. That goes in there like that. And there we have our foam. And as I say, we've got the same area going through there as we have going in there, so that should be fine. So I think that's all good. All right, now the next thing to do is to make the mounting bracket for it, so let's have a look at that. So I decided that putting a through bolt, I mean, it wouldn't be that long, would be a bit of a mess on. So what we're going to do is we're going to drill through there like a 1/4 inch hole, and then on each side I'm going to make up a piece out of about 3/4. It's going to be about just over 1/4 inch long that will get bronzed on there, and they're going to be tapped 1/4 inch fine. And then that way, when we put our little knee bracket on, just take a screw off and this will come off. Screw out the other side, the oil tank will come off. So we can do them a lot easier, I think, like that. And then, as I say, don't forget there's a piece of hose that will seal that up. And if you're wondering why, I might get some comments that say, oh, you should have a back on it, this, that and the other. Don't forget, thinking about that last little bit of video, I've got to be able to get the foam in. All right? So if it was under here, hang on, with the other ones which were in here, I was able to put a top on that I could take off to put the foam in. But as you can see, there's nowhere to put the foam in that would work very easily, except to come in from the other side. And then it would have to have a fastener and all this sort of thing. So I think that works fine. All right. So let me, I'll measure up from the swinging arm mounting so I get the whole, or should I just put one right through? It's not that long, is it? And if I put the nut on this side, then it's a lot less of a mess on to just make 2 little steel spacing pieces. Then I put the bolt through, fasten it up to hold them in place while I bronze them on. This is 1.5 inches. Let me get it marked up and I'll keep thinking about it. I've decided to use separate mounting points, not go all the way through, because I want them slightly different heights. So I drilled that 7/32, and then I've tapped it. I mean, it's only like 1 thread, but the reason I've done that is, here's the piece I'm going to put on, which is tapped. Do you know what? I was just making these and I noticed, and I tried it with 2 bolts, the heads aren't centered on the shaft. So the plan is, the reason I threaded the frame tube was very simple. I should have screwed this in before I switched you on, shouldn't I? Never mind. So I can screw that on there now. And now I can nicely bronze it up, for which I'll have to bring the welder over. I don't know whether you'll be able to see this, but here's the third one of these bolts I've pulled out. Watch the head. What about that then? Right, so hang on, I'll have to move you. So that's bronzed on there. Next thing I've got to do is make a knee joint with this. Go from there and then we'll weld it onto there. Okay, so let me measure this, bend it, drill a hole, and we're all done. Well, then I can weld it on. But if I do it like this, see, I can bolt it onto there and it'll hold it so I can weld it. Okay, so there's that bent and drilled. So that will go on there, like thus. And as I say, I'll put a bolt in there and that'll hold it while I get that welded. That's the plan anyway. Alright then, this is everything for the week. So, I've put the, doing the tank in red, so I had some red rubber tube. I'll put the red rubber tube on. Got some minor bits to do. I also made the foam a little bit longer so that it squishes into the sort of cage more. Ooh, there we go. Goes on there like that. Where's that? Goes in there. Like that. Let's just move around a little bit before I tighten that up. Let me get it. And of course, as I say, I'll get a proper narrower hose clamp for there to hold that on. That on tightly. That on tightly. There we have our nice airtight box, breathing through the bottom and the front, which are well out of the weather. I think that will be fine. Hang on, let me move you around slightly. There, that doesn't look too shabby, does it? Everything fits, nothing touches. That's all on good and tight. So next week we will do the bracket for the oil tank. Oh, and I still have to put the little breather thing on there. We'll make a rear brake cable and finish the prop stand. And I think we'll make the bash plate and the various brackets for that, because if I can get all that done, oh, and there's a mounting up here to go on for the head steady and the little bracket to go on for the ignition coil. If we can get all that done next week, which might be slightly shorter, because don't forget, I'm posting this on Sunday. Tomorrow, Monday, I go and get my tube out, but that's minor, so I'll probably be in the workshop Tuesday afternoon, Wednesday, Thursday, Saturday, something like that. So there you go. That's it for this week. So from a cold and snowy Richford, New York, you stay safe and enjoy yourselves.